And our guest is Dr. Roger McEowen, who is a ag law and taxation professor at the Washburn School of Law, as we talk with him every month. And we're going through some things that happened this past year, kind of in the ag in the courtroom, if you will, and not quite the top 10 list. We'll get to that later on. But Dr. McEowen, as we go through this list, one of those that's been in the works now for a while is, and finally, I guess, got a ruling on these renewable kind of credits when it comes to green energy, the renewable energies.
Yeah. In the 2009 stimulus bill, Congress put in what's known as the Section 1603 grants. And IRS has really been picking at the corners on those in the way that they're computed. And they won a significant case in 2020. And I think that's really going to portend out into the future. Even though that program's no longer there, that money is still out there and the IRS can still audit that. I think that this is a case out of the federal circuit that is going to have an impact on the computation, the manner in which those credits are computed in the future. So it's a big deal.
Another issue that seems like is brought up every year, that is tax credit or tax, income coming from trusts and the tax implications.
Yeah, and this was a big deal because if you remember under TCJA, the 2017 law that took effect in 2018 at the federal level, the effect of that is it wiped out a lot of itemized deductions. A lot fewer people will itemize deductions now. Well, the question out of that was, do those same rules apply to trust? Can trust, what does it do to deductions claimed by trust? The answer is, it doesn't really do anything. The IRS took a very soft position in some final regulations, and so we're basically going to get the level of deductions that we want, that we've been used to at the trust level.
One that has a Kansas connection, lying with purpose of harming livestock facilities is known as protected speech.
Yeah, this is known as I don't like to refer to it this way, but the public, non-ag public knows these as the Gag Laws. Kansas had the first in the country of these laws in 1990, and they've been challenged by anti-agriculture, anti-livestock groups across the country. The Kansas law was challenged, and back in January of this year, the Federal District Court for Kansas said that it was facially unconstitutional. And there were various challenges. The governor's office, by virtue of the attorney general, tried to defend that, and were not successful in doing that. Now there's been an injunction entered against enforcement of the law.
Another thing that happens every year is different challenges to right to farm laws.
Yeah, there was a big case in Indiana that they even asked the U.S. Supreme Court to hear the case, and the U.S. Supreme Court just a few months ago, late in 2020, declined to hear the case. But it was a very fascinating case involving one branch of the family, the senior member of the family, having to sue the junior members of the family on down the line, a couple of generations, for changing from the row crop operation to a large-scale confinement hog operation while grandpa/great-grandpa still lived in the home that he was born in. And it created a nuisance for him. And the Indiana right to farm law protected the change in the operation. And the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear the case.
Well, and one that I guess I'm a little interested in, that dinosaur fossils are minerals.
Well, the question is whether they are minerals or not. Do they belong to the mineral owner? Do they belong to the surface owner? And in the Montana case, this involved multi-million-dollars worth of dinosaur fossils. You've got complete Tyrannosaurus Rex that is uncovered. It's worth millions upon millions of dollars. And it was a battle between who owns it. Do the oil and gas owners, the mineral owners, own that, along with the surface owner who also owns some of the minerals, or is it just the surface owner? And the Montana Supreme Court said that dinosaur fossils are not minerals. They belong to the surface estate owner because they are not mined like natural resources are mined. And I think that's the right result.
And another thing we talked about earlier this fall was the force majeure when it comes to some of the clauses in some of the contracts that are written.
Yeah, this was a big issue. This is not a particular case or a ruling or anything like that, but this was a situation that came up as a result of the virus where you had early in the year back along March, April, May, we saw production chains shut down because of virus issues at packing plants, for example, at dairy operations. And so dairy farmers couldn't get their milk picked up. They were having to dump milk. Hogs couldn't be picked up by hog buyers because the kill plants were shut down. And so, what do you do in that situation? Is that a breach of contract? Well, that brought up the issue of force majeure clauses. Do you have language in your contract that says what happens when there is something that's not really an act of God, it's an act of government that would prevent you from performing under your contract? And that was an issue a lot of attorneys had not thought about, many for their entire career, and it came up, and it came up in spades.
Well, Dr. McEowen, it's always great to catch up with these things. If folks want to read more about your not quite top 10 list and other blog information that you have, how can they do that or subscribe to it?
You can just go to my website, and that's washburnlaw.edu/Walter, WALTR. And on that homepage down the left side, they'll see a link for the Agricultural Law and Taxation blog. And then there's another link next to that where they can click on that, fill it out, and sign up for the email notification. And then when I add something to a new article to the blog, you'll see the title of it and what it's all about. And if that interests you, then you can go to it and read it. If not, you can move on to what else you're doing.
All right, Dr. McEowen, we look forward to talking with you again next month.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
Dr. Roger McEowen, who is an ag law and ag taxation professor at the Washburn School of Law, has joined us. Stay with us. More coming up.